What's up? We are back. I believe this is episode 9 of Wager Wars here. We were just talking before the show, 138, returning from the first episode, and he's taking on Roto Brady, who I believe it was like episode 4 or 5. Who did you play?
With Evan.
That's right. It was Evan's first time. So yep. What up, Scorpion? What up, man? So obviously we're going to be going over UFC Vegas 99. They're going to be giving their best bets, their favorite bets on every fight. It's going to be 1 unit to 5 unit increments as always. 25 units as the maximum on the card. And we're going to start at the bottom, work all the way up to the top. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, including you two, of course. Do you have any questions? I know it's been a little while since either of you guys have been on here.
Just if at the end, I'll probably have to reallocate a little bit. So
yeah. No, that's totally cool. Yeah, if you want to change around the unit size at the end, totally good. What up, Dash? Over there on the Twitch side. Yeah, but I guess what do we got? Now that we have that short notice. Man, I'm blown about losing that high stand fight. I had a bet on high stand minus 131. I think he was going to smoke Hadley. Did you?
Massive.
Yeah. I think he was going to smoke Hadley. Even though Hadley, man, he's about to go on a little bit. I mean, we'll talk about it in a bit, but wow, minus 500. So we'll get to that one, but I do think he was going to get smoked from high stand. But
I'm a little biased. Like, Brady's my dude, so he's been on the channel a couple of times, so I always respect him.
Super nice guy. He's he's the only fighter that has ever been to set up me coming on your podcast. I'm just gonna send you my number, and it's like, all right, that's super comfortable. Bam Bam's a super nice guy, and I really wish I was gonna be watching him fight on Saturday.
Same.
I know, man. Did you see what it was? I didn't see what it was.
Some kind of injury.
Yeah. But Scorpion says it's peer-reviewed research. Jiu-Jitsu guy main event equals 4+. Dude, he's been saying this in the comments of all the videos. That some sort of correlation here. I don't know about the data there, but he's saying it's going to be a submission night. We'll see about that. What up, Clips? How you doing, man? What up, Chris Reed? How you guys doing, man? But all right, well, I guess we can, as people start to filter in, it's perfect time because we do have. Honestly, this first fight's not too bad. I honestly wish that it was 2, 3, 4 to start off the card, so you can just get wasted during those 3 fights or something, and then make your way to the better fights. But it actually is going to start off with a banger. We got Robelis Despaigne taking on Austin Lane. We will start over at 138. What do you think about this fight, man?
I think it's a dumpster fire of a fight. Either guy is live to win this fight, depending on how it takes place. What would make sense is Despaigne winning in the first with a knockout, but we've seen it time and time again that heavyweights tend to go over. And even though this is a scary one to go over, I like the number on the over 1.5. So I'll take it. Over 1.5 is my bet. Let's put a unit on it.
Over 1.5. Let me check what the line is on that. 1 unit on the over 1.5. The over 1.5 is plus. What's the best price? Looks like Bet Online has it for plus 220.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Honestly, we have seen that a lot, and I honestly think Robelis gets the finish in the second round, so it's going to be a little sweaty. But I really don't think I think the first round could look a lot like that Denise fight. I think Lane probably does get him down. Despaigne looks like this dude has 0 grappling. So
none.
But it's not like Lane's really a submission threat. So he'll eat some ground and pound. The ref's not going to stop it unless it gets crazy. And then I think in the second round is when Despaigne gets the finish. So might be a little sweaty, but hey, plus 220, I don't mind a sweat.
I even thought about the fight goes to decision, but that would be so sweaty.
Wow.
I'd have to change clothes.
Plus 700. Yeah, it's possible. But I honestly think Lane grapples him hard in the first and then gasses and then gets finished.
Yeah.
But I'll put you down for, you said 1 unit
Yep.
And that's over 1.5 at plus 220. What do you think about this one, Brady?
Yeah, like I just wish Rebellis was kind of fighting somebody else. I'd be a lot more interested in the matchup. Like I think there's some of those guys at heavyweight where it's like, even though you don't think they have a bright future, you at least want to see like who could move up. But I always like Austin Lane takes a lot of flack, but like really you look at his career and it has not been that bad, especially like comparing it to what Robellis has done. Like Austin Lane, over the last few years has wins over Juan Adams by knockout for the Fury FC like heavyweight championship. And I'm not like, does he lose to the guys like Tafa and Denise? And you go back to when he was first on the Contender Series, all the way back against Greg Hardy. It's just like this number that he's at plus 65 seems just like way too much. And like we're still maybe overthinking Rebellis, because you look even at his knockouts that he had before in the UFC. They're sloppy, they're hard, but the dudes that he like dropped are somehow sloppier. Like I'm not that impressed with him at this point. And even the Josh Parisian win, man, he was going in reckless and got clipped plenty of times. If it wasn't for him being a really dynamic athlete, he wouldn't have finished that. So I'm just going to go like 1 unit Austin Lane money line plus 265. I think that I think that number is kind of crazy. Austin Lane really hasn't had that bad of a career, and at least we've seen him more in the UFC.
Yeah, you said what's the line you're saying?
Plus 265 on Bet Online.
You can hold up. I know I saw Bet US, which any of the major sports books I'll just use the best line, and Bet US has it plus 300. So
nice.
I'm gonna put you down for plus 300. 1 unit, you said?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame you. Low-level heavyweight fight, I never knock anybody taking an underdog shot. Maybe Lane gets him down this time and can land some ground and pound. I do think Despaigne's pretty tough. He just has no grappling. So the finish is going to be a little tough. But, hey, if Lane can hold him down for 2 rounds, then,
he still has to survive that one.
And hell, Lane ended up knocking out Juan Adams in that 4th round in that Fury FC fight. So even though I do think like both these dudes are probably going to gas, like, I don't know, man. It's Austin Lane isn't Harry Hunsucker. That's what I'll put it as. Like there's a bottom tier and then there's a slightly higher bottom tier. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do think he's a little better than those guys. I still feel like Despaigne, like I'm leaning towards Despaigne getting that 2nd round KO. Lane might slow down, but honestly, at the number at 3-1, I don't think that's a bad number. I saw plus 350 earlier in the week, and I considered it. So, I'll put you down 1 unit plus 300, and we can move on to the first of 3. And look, this isn't me knocking women's MMA, but like this is just bad women's MMA, man. This is a tough stretch, man. I'm gonna be taking some shots, be friggin' packing the bong during this three stretch. I'm not gonna lie to you, but let me shout out the chat real quick. Scorpion, don't worry, because if I'm wrong, I'm deleting any and every evidence of me saying this. Classic move. Clips, I'll probably just play Despaigne round 2 KO. That's what I'm leaning towards, but again, I cannot knock a 3-1 unranked sloppy heavyweight fight ever. I faded him against Waldo, and that worked out. I did also try to fade him against we were just talking about it. Parisian, yeah. That one didn't work out, but it worked out the next time. Gonna be a way better price, yeah. What up, Larry? How you doing, man? Scorpion, I also will be denying it if you bring it up. Okay, I respect it. Larry's got a parlay: Kyler, Johnson, Asu, Hadley, Matsumoto, and Rebellis. What's the number you got on that, Larry? Let me see if I agree with. I mean, I agree with all the picks. The sketchy one is going to be the sketchiest because we got a Rebellis in there, which I don't know. That's sketchy at that number, but Matsumoto and Asu, in my opinion, are going to be a little bit of a sweat, but we'll see. We'll get to it. Scorpion says, I saw Lane get bingo whipped by women's bantamweight Craig Hardy. Women's bantamweight? What are you talking about, bro? That's one thing Greg Hardy is. He's freaking huge. Lane is a bum. I mean, I don't know how good Rebellis. I don't know if he's much better. Also got slept by a 42-year-old Frank Tate. Imagine getting bonked by a 50-year-old at 30. Okay, plus 510 for the 6 leg. Okay, well, we can move on to the next one, man. We got Melissa Martinez coming in at minus 130 against Alice Ardelean. She is now, but she's been bet down to about plus 113 on Bet Online, the best number I see. We'll start with Brady on this one, man. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think like the odds here are pretty appropriate. Like, I think people have always really thought that Melissa Martinez had like the greater potential and the higher ceiling of the two. What really bothers me about her is the extreme lack of activity over the last 5 years. And then coming back and losing, that UFC debut. I mean, she has like a win over Desiree Yanez, but like that's like 2 fights ago for her, and that's 2019. Really, you look at Alice Ardelean, and her record isn't awesome, but she loses the UFC debut by split decision to Shauna Bannon. 2 of her other career losses, Diana Velveeta and Weili Zhang, previously in her professional career. So her record's kind of all over the board, but really, I think when you really see like the last handful of years, I think these two are about even. And so getting Ardelean as the underdog plus 115, I will take it just a half step further and go Ardelean by decision, 1 unit on that. Hard to feel good about that one either. This is all sketchy vibes for the first 2 fights, and that's not looking ahead.
Let me see what the line is on that. Ardelean by decision is, here it is, plus 200 on Betway. Plus 200. All right, you said 1 unit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, 138. What do you think about this one, man?
Yeah, I echo a lot of the same sentiment. In fact, so much so that I have the exact same bet for this as Ardelean by decision. It's the layoff that really bothers me for Martinez. So we're definitely going with Ardelean. I think she can probably, get into the fight a little earlier. So we're going to go with her. She'll maybe a split. Doesn't matter. We're just taking the decision straight out for Ardelean.
Well, it looks like we're all on the same page. I didn't bet this decision, but I took her when like 3-4 days ago, and she was plus 130, nice. Plus 131 on Bet Online. Yeah, it was one of my first bets on this card. I think, it is going to be a close fight, but I just think, dude, Martinez, why is she the favorite? Like, what did she even do good? She was getting taken down by a friggin' Elise Reed. Getting dropped by her, I'll give you a pass. We're about to talk about her, but if there's one thing she can do, she does have some pop for a women's MMA fighter. But come on, man. Getting taken down is bad. That girl is not a grappler, and she cannot wrestle. So that's a bad look. And then also, 1 fight in 2 years, 1 fight in 5 years, no wins in 5 years. That's insane. That's a bad stat. And she's the favorite. I don't know. Maybe she's going to come in looking a lot better than we've ever seen, but I haven't seen it. So I'm going to go off what I've seen. So I'm on the same page. I took her money line plus 130. And we can move on to the second of the 3 fight women's MMA stretch. We got Jessica Penne coming in at 41 years old, taking on the aforementioned Elise Reed. Reed minus 175 is the best number I'm seeing. And then we got, plus 155 for Penne. We are back to 138, man. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, Penne from a few years ago would be the side for sure, but she hasn't looked like herself for a while. Hasn't been the best. She's showing the decline. I mean, she's like 41. It makes sense. It's not it's not like a knock on her. It's just that's what happens when you get to be 41. I think if Penne gets it to the ground, she can have some success, but I think on the feet she's gonna have trouble. She has had trouble in the past on the feet. So unfortunately, I have to go since we have to bet every fight. I'll have to go with Elise Reed by decision. At whatever we can get Elise Reed by decision at, I will take that.
Okay, cool. Elise Reed decision. Let me see. Sorry about that. Elise Reed. Reed by decision plus 110. You can get.
Plus money, that's great. That's all we need.
All right, Brady. What do you think about this one, man?
Same exact thing. 2 fights in a row for these. Like Elise Reed is a fighter that I always talk about. Like she's the worst strawweight in the UFC. Like sometimes that's how it feels coming out of my mouth. But then you look, I mean, win loss. Historically, she's due for a win now. And you go back and like look at her professional career before the UFC. Wins over Jillian DeCourcy, Jasmine Jazz Duvicius. Like she's capable of some lower lows, but like she's a like quality fighter for beating a 41-year-old Jessica Penne. And like if you are going Penne, then you go. I think Penne by submission has been like the more recent trend for her. But I think Elise Reed by decision, what I like about her in these matchups is up to a certain ceiling. It doesn't necessarily matter whether she outstrikes someone, lands a few takedowns or whatever. She tends to mix together things well, good enough to get a decision against the fighters she's capable of beating. If she's not capable of beating them, she gets finished. So that's what's up with her, and we're on the exact same page again.
Perfect.
Yeah, plus 110. I got you for that. I'm less confident than you guys in Reed, I'm not going to lie, but I do like the over. I do think this fight goes a decision. I bet the decision in my only parlay on this card. I'm not at least. I mean, it doesn't sound like you guys are either. It's just I get it. Penne's 41. I will say you do see girls like aging better. Like the older ladies tend to do a little better than the men for some odd reason. Don't know why. I don't know if it's just less speed necessary. They can, especially if they have some sort of grappling, they can get it done. And then I think it also is there's just less power and knockouts, so there's less like immediate consequences for, if your speed isn't quite as good. I don't know what it is. I don't know. The mystery's there, but I will say you do see a lot of these older ladies able to get a dub. And I just not big on Elise Reed, but I did pick her to win. And I do think the fight goes to decision. So really, we all agree. I'm just less confident. But we can move on to the third of the female fights. This run we got here. Scorpion says Melissa has never fought anyone with jiu-jitsu. Ardelean taking that back and hitting the Eileen Perez. I mean, yeah, I just think Ardelean's more physical. And I don't. It seems like where'd she go to Fusion XL? I forgot where she's doing her camp right now, but it seems like she's just like after the last fight was short notice. Now she's coming in full camp. She's taking it serious. And I honestly think that like she can kind of big sister Martinez a little bit, especially at plus money. Like it's not that I think she's some great grappler. I just think she could kind of muscle her up against the cage, get her down a couple times. I mean, if Elise Reed can take you down, why can't Elise Ardelean? But anyways, Larry says 3 low-level women's MMA fights back-to-back is insane. Now I get why they are starting the card off with the Revelis fight. Yeah, they're going to start with the if there was a crowd, it would be tough because they're going to get so hype off the first fight, and then it's just going to be 3 15-minute decisions after that. That's low level, too. I'm cool with the decision if it's, like, good MMA. Reed has 4 losses by sub, but they only show 2. That's weird. Penne round 2. It's possible, I guess. The number on that's probably insane. I'm just going to fade the women's MMA fights or do parlay with the overs. I do think they probably all go into decision. I would not be surprised if all 3 go to decision. Jake says no one is dropping 5 units on any of the women's fights. Me personally, no. I do have a bet on I have Ardelean on the money line plus 130. I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't hate plus 110, but I think she should be like minus 120 and minus 130 in my opinion. But and then I have the over in the Penne fight. That's all. Anyway, Scorpion says a 45-minute bathroom break. Hey, I can't blame you. But we can move on to this 4th fight of the card. We got Jocelyn Edwards taking on Tamires Vidal. We are back to Roto Brady for this one. What do you think, man?
Scorpion, plan your meals better if you're going to have a 45-minute bathroom break at the start of the card. But this one, again, I think we're about to say a lot of the same stuff that we just did for the last two fights. Jocelyn Edwards has been like one of my weirdly like favorite fighters to bet on over the last few years because her fights going the distance and her wins being by decision are like a free space on a bingo card. So really the thing here is like Vidal, just very underwhelming, after that knockout win that is now 2 years ago against Ramona Pascual, which doesn't mean a whole lot. I almost like more that Jocelyn Edwards was able to land 164 strikes on Pascual. And, I like the volume that Jocelyn Edwards does throw in these fights. In this division, if you can throw with volume, then there's a very good chance that you can end up on the right side of the scorecards. And I think Jocelyn Edwards, she's bigger in a lot of these fights. If she needs to press her up against the cage, get a couple of takedowns, I just think Jocelyn Edwards is the better fighter of the two by the exact margin that these odds are at. I understand, at least the loss to Eileen Perez. She was able to kind of get her takedowns against Nora, but that was like not a good fight from her. So what happened against Pudilova and Kim and Yanan Wu, that's enough for me to just go with Jocelyn Edwards by decision. That's minus 150 on Bet Online. I'm going with a unit on it because it's this division. And so I'm going with a winner to win by decision, but who the hell knows what could happen here. So that's how I feel about Jocelyn Edwards. It's like, if you can land with volume in this weight class, you can win these decisions against 98% of your opponents.
You said minus 150, right?
Yeah.
And just one unit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I mean, spoiler alert, I agree. So, but we can pass it over to 138, man. What do you think? You think we're going we getting three agreements in a row, or what do you think?
No, actually. So Vidal's terrible. So I actually think we agree in some sense. I do think Edwards wins. But I think she could get a knockout, honestly. If we could play two bets on the same fight, I would. Where I would put money line and then also.
Hey, you're breaking up a little bit, man.
Oh, my bad. Hopefully that clears up. We'll see. We're going off data, so.
You're good now. You're good. What were you saying?
So I was saying, if I could, I would play two bets on the same fight. But honestly, for this style of show, can't, because I would play the knockout prop and money line. But for the sake of the show, I'm going to do 5 units on Jocelyn Edwards' money line because I do think she can knock her out. I think Vidal's terrible. She's a quitter. She just kind of covers up and lets you hit her if you start landing volume, and I think that's what's going to happen. I feel like she gets her out of there, but I can't predict the round. And I also could just see Edwards being content to take her down because Vidal also sucks off her back, and then she'd win a decision. So we'll take the money line, 5 units. So Jake in the chat would be wrong about that. So we'll see if it comes back to bite me.
Hey,
no shame for Jake. I mean, I understand why he thought that, but
minus 236, right?
Probably something like that. Yeah.
That's what I see on Bet Online as the best price.
Sick.
5 units. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think she's better than Vidal everywhere. I don't think Vidal. I don't know, man. This girl isn't UFC caliber, so I think she's getting.
Her best wins.
Jocelyn Edwards. Yeah, I get that. Like, it's tough to bet because I do wish. I honestly wish I would have just. I have a thing, dude. I just don't parlay like women's MMA. I just don't. I refuse. I only really bet women's MMA when it's plus money. But I honestly, like, even now, I don't think 236 is bad parlay fuel. Or it's 235 to just make it even over on BetUS. But, I really do think she's better than Vidal absolutely everywhere. So, in that case, it's like, is 235 really that bad? I get it's low-level women's MMA, but I think Jocelyn's gotten a lot better, honestly. I think she's a better striker, better wrestler, better grappler. But we can move on, man. We're all definitely agreeing a lot to start this card, except I guess, Brady's taking the shot on Lane, but even that I can't knock. Plus 300 is solid. anyways, we will move on to a really good fight. Honestly, even though some of Brad Katona's fights aren't the best, we got Brad Katona taking on Jean Matsumoto. I believe we are back to 138 on this one. We got Brad at or Matsumoto minus 193 bet online and plus 168, or you can get actually a plus 194. No, it's like BS forecasters. I don't even know if that's legit. Plus 180, plus 186. What do you think about this one, Mark?
What do we got on Fight Goes to Decision?
You said the price on that? Like, what's the line? We got minus 280 on DraftKings.
Of course. Okay, so I'll take Matsumoto by decision, I guess. Hopefully it's a decent line, and we'll take a unit.
Even money, minus 100.
Beautiful. We'll put a unit on that.
All right. What do you think about this one, Brady?
Yeah, I kind of can't believe this is going to happen. Like, I think we might have the same pick again. Like, we wouldn't even plan this, like, if we wanted to, like, this wouldn't happen in normal circumstances. But the thing about Katona is, do I think he's going to get 4 or 5, takedowns, at least 3? Yeah, I do think he's going to do that. I think when Matsumoto gets taken down 9 times by Dan Argueta, Brad Katona's licking his chops at that. But Brad Katona does not do damage on the ground. He doesn't do damage on the feet, even though he can land with all right volume and keep a pace, at least with his opponent. He's not going to be able to keep pace with Gene Matsumoto. And even if Matsumoto gets taken down, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. He's not going to get hurt. And I think the value of his strikes when they're standing is going to be the difference maker there. So I will also, you know what? I'll go 1.5 units on Gene Matsumoto by decision. Obviously 138 might, reallocate, but that's where I'm going with that one. I just don't see Brad Katona against Gene Matsumoto with what he has done so far in just 2 fights. I don't see him ever doing enough damage, even when he's being successful in there, to win this.
Yeah, no, I'm picking Matsumoto too. I'm probably a little less confident than you guys in him, just because I know Katona, man. He's not somebody I want to lay as a favorite, but man, as a dog, it has been a little tempting, just because I do feel like this is going to be a close decision. So I do think both of y'all cash. So again, I agree. And the only thing I'd be scared about, as far as it not going to decision, is Matsumoto finding a choke. Typically that doesn't happen with Katona, and I'm not just saying that because he did it to Argueta, because Argueta is kind of like, man, he's just like live or die. He's going to go balls to the wall, whereas Katona is a little bit more contained, and he's not going to make the same amount of mistakes. I don't think he has like the strength and like the power that Argueta does. Not just with his not even talking about striking, but like Argueta's like he could pick you up and like throw you. But Katona doesn't really have that, but he is leechy and he'll keep coming. So I think he could make this fight close, but I do think Matsumoto wins. I think the dude's pretty well-rounded. He's just going to have to defend takedowns, man. If he can do that, he's going to win. But
say what you want about Katona, because I know a lot of people don't like him and don't like watching him fight, but like, he is a cerebral fighter. He does think things through. He's got those psychopath eyes. So this fight could get stood up at several points. That's the kind of spot he's going to be in.
Yeah, hopefully not, but it could. But we can move on. I did want to say what up to No Chill Dill. Says what up, fellas. We got hold on. We got knocked out by Titty. Yeah, she did get knocked out by a punch to the chest. That was tough. Edwards round 3. Is Vidal a black belt? I don't care what belt she is. If she is, it's a McDonald's belt. I've seen her grapple. She's not a black belt, so I don't really even care what belt she happens to have on her Instagram. If she is, I have no idea, but I try not to read into that too much, because I know it can be a promotional thing. Like, the gym's going to get so many signups when they can say, oh, UFC fighter is our black belt. Like, it goes on the website. It's a promotional tool. I've seen it firsthand, but He sounds fine for us. Good. Okay. Yes, add a guy 138. Dawson doesn't KO, but he did if someone gets on top. He only gets taken down because the mythical round 2 Matsumoto wasn't awakened yet. I feel it. Katona dominates for 5 minutes, then he unleashes the beast for the 3rd sub of the night. Oh, true shit. McDonald's belt? Hey, I'm just keeping it real, man. McBurger King black belt? Legit. But
yeah, belts only matter so much. Like,
dude, I learned early on.
Mm-hmm.
I learned early on because I was I technically, so the first belt I went to, they did an advanced white belt, and so I went through the belt, but they had an advanced white. They stuck 2 basically extra belts between white and blue, so it was white, advanced white, beginner, blue. So I can't remember if I was advanced white or a blue belt. I was like 2 years into jiu-jitsu, and I had a super fight against a dude who'd been doing jiu-jitsu for like 18 years, was a black belt. I built it up so hard. I was like, oh, I'm going to get like heel hooked or something. And it was only because I had a super fight. Bunch of like 2 dudes got hurt or pulled out like the week of. And then the dude who was there to do the reffing ended up my opponent. And Dan Severn ref the match.
That's awesome.
It was pretty dope. Dan Severn got to ref the match. But I had a super fight against a black belt as technically a white belt. Realistically, I was a blue belt. Just the coach promoted us really slow. Just some sandbagging shit. But I was a blue belt pretty much, but it was one of the easiest matches ever. This dude was like trash, and I wouldn't say names or anything, but he's like kind of known out here in the DMV. He'll do like seminars and shit. It was like one of the easiest matches ever. Like I compete against blue belts who are harder than that, let alone at purple. But anyways, we can move on. Just belts don't matter.
They don't.
Next, I mean, I'm a purple belt now, and sometimes I roll blue belts that are harder matches than some of the brown belts or black belts that I roll. I roll in competition black belts that are easier than blue belt matches I've had. So it's all, man. It just, I don't look into the belts too much, man. But anyways,
white belts that are a nightmare because they come from like a Division I wrestling background.
Oh,
and they just ragdoll you.
Yeah.
But they're a white belt.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is typically like they just have no submission defense, so it works for like a smaller guy to just get to their back. But anyway, you know, I mean, a wrestling background will help a ton. I always tell people like grappling's grappling, and like don't listen to these jiu-jitsu guys who will tell you, oh, dude, it's not gonna matter over here. Yes, it will. There's dudes. Look at Nicky Rod and a ton of other people that have turned it into, you know, they only needed like half the time that most people would take because grappling's grappling. So especially
if you come from that wrestling background and you're like, you know, you've been a white belt for a while now, so you're like on that cusp. That's a dangerous white belt. Like if you're getting ready to go to blue belt, that white belt's dangerous.
That's not happening, blood. But yeah. Okay. Anyways, I went on a tangent there, but we can move on to another good fight here. I actually really do think this is going to be a fun fight, and it's going to tell us a lot about a prospect like Asu Almabaev, who's taking on Mateus Nicolau. He's sitting at about minus 200. We are back to Brady, I believe. What do you think about this one, man?
I think that I wish we had done this show yesterday when Asu Almabaev was at like minus 185. But minus 200, it makes it a lot more interesting. Like Nicolau, I've seen some really good takes on this fight, and because people are super interested in this one for good reason. Flyweight's my favorite division in the UFC right now. Almabaev has performed really well since he's gotten into the UFC, and it really shows you how good Timarov was, considering the compared results against CJ Vergara. But, you know, 15 takedowns combined over his last 2 fights, one by submission in his UFC debut against Ode Osborne. I think that is a skill set that could really give Mateus Nicolau problems, despite the fact that, like, you go back through his career, it's not exactly like this doesn't really fit in anywhere. Like Nicolau's used to like getting knocked out by people, because he's been fighting the best in the world for so long. But Nicolau, what's frustrating about him and some of my other favorite flyweights is their shots when they're standing are good and they land with good punches, but they just don't do it enough for whatever reason. And I think that could really plague Nicolau in this one. I could easily see him winning. This dude's a really good flyweight. He's only fought the best in the world, over the course of the last few years, and had a really good winning streak a couple of years ago. But Asu Almabaev is one of these guys who has injected his name into this prospect conversation of guys working their way up the flyweight division. I do think that Asu Almabaev by decision makes the most sense. I'm seeing that on Bet Online at -115. And I think like Nicolau could do really well in some of the stand-up portions. And I think that's when it's going to keep it going the distance, because Almabaev might, is going to answer, maybe not as well, but he's ultimately going to get it back down to the ground. And I think that this fight goes 3 rounds. I'm going to go 2 units, Asu Almabaev by decision.
Let me see what the line is on that. Almabaev decision, even money, +100.
And it would have been different even before the last fight. But like Alex Perez is a guy I never really took seriously as a flyweight contender, going back to before his title shot. And so that's kind of been a hard line to draw. Is I think Asu Almabaev can absolutely fight for a title and, some amount of time. And Nicolau, I think we know, like at this point, that's not going to happen. This is a gate that he's trying to keep, and Asu Almabaev is going to bust through the gate.
Hey, I got you down for +100 on Almabaev decision, 2 units, 138. What do you think about this one, man?
Yeah, so this is rough because it wasn't that long ago that I was extremely high on Nicolau, but his durability it's not there. He's coming back, was it like 5 months ago? He just got knocked out. I can't trust the durability on him anymore. His volume isn't enough to make guys have to worry too much. I don't think the grappling is going to help him a lot here. I mean, he's a good grappler, don't get me wrong, but like so is Almabaev. So I think it's going to end up on the feet. And I think that he's going to get a knockout. I think it's Almabaev by KO, and I'll play it for a unit. It was at +800 last I saw, but it might not be anymore.
+750.
I'll take it. 1 unit.
Respect.
Hey, I mean, like you touched on, he has 4 losses, and all 4 are knockout.
Yep.
So could definitely happen. At this point, you really got to question the durability. I mean, I actually am a little higher than you, Brady, on Perez, but at the same time, it's not like he's some vicious power puncher. It was a pretty decent shot he caught him with, but still, it's like, I think it started as more of a striking defense thing, but at this point, it's like just going out like viciously that bad. That Royval one was bad too. She took some vicious elbows in that ground and pound, but yeah, I'm gonna put you down +750, Asu. I'm not gonna lie, I was tempted when I first saw this matchup. I was tempted to take an underdog shot. This is a classic underdog shot for me a lot of times because I'm like, okay, I really feel like on paper I get it, but like you guys both touched on, Nicolau typically, what he's losing, he's getting knocked out. I don't think Almabaev some big power puncher. I think Nicolau has the striking advantage. The problem is, man, the durability at this point, like even a guy like Asu, like maybe he could knock him out. And then, yeah, Nicolau has like a 95% takedown defense, but at the same time, he's never really wrestled with a guy like Almabaev, in my opinion. And then also, Nicolau never separates, man. Like I bet him a couple times. I bet him in that cop fight, and it was so close for no reason. Like I don't know. He fights close. So it's like if I'm betting a guy who has a durability issue against a guy with all the hype, all the all the momentum, and then he's younger and has a lot of physical advantages. Dude's jacked as hell, even though he's kind of smaller. And then you're telling me on top of all that, the dude doesn't separate when he does win. So a win would probably be like a close decision. It's just not really enough for me to take the dog shot. But I was tempted, but I do feel like Almabaev wins, whether it's by taking him down. And I mean, I think the submission is possible, but I would lean towards more of this dude's truly shot and you do cash that +750, or Almabaev just wins by decision. But yeah, I do think Almabaev wins. So we are in agreement there.
I see him shooting it or feinting a takedown and getting Nicolau to go to defend the takedown, leaving his chin wide open and just getting demolished.
Man,
he does wing some huge overhands. Like he just goes. What'd you say?
No, it's a strong visualization. I always like when you have it in your head of like how you exactly see it playing out. Like, and like you mentioned, dude, Starboy's another one. I'm a big Starboy fan, and I hate myself for it every day. For his last fight, where against Makayev, where it's like, dude, your strikes are landing. Keep throwing them. Why are you not? Like, there's a couple guys that fly away like that I like to root for, but they don't want me to root for them.
Dude, I had a bet on Perez in that fight, and I was freaking dying. I honestly do think Perez won that fight just off damage, but I'm biased against, like, dude, I'm a grappler. I've been grappling for 10 years. But, you know, I have a bias. Like, if you're just going to sit on your knees for half the fight, I don't understand how Makayev won the Perez fight. I don't understand how, even worse, Mario Batista beat Aldo, but don't even get me started.
Here with the president of the Mario Batista fan club, as we have seen over the past couple weeks.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you're familiar with my game. Okay, cool. Then you understand. But you know, yeah, damage should win fights. Control isn't supposed to be scored unless there's equal damage. But you know, another debate for another day. We can move on. I will shout out the chat really quick. So yeah, well, it seems like most people are in agreement. He said he can turn any flyweight into Ngannou. What up, Daz? How you doing, man? Asu decision is nice. Going to be a close fight. Saw 138 here, so joined. What up? Appreciate you coming through, man. Yeah, and speaking of which, make sure you give a subscribe to 138 and Roto Brady here. Follow him on Twitter, all that stuff. I'm gonna put it in the caption. But yeah, definitely make sure you do that. Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's move on to this next one. Darren Elkins, Daniel Pineda. Roto, what do you got on this one, man?
I'm not going crazy with this one. Like, this is an almost pick'em fight between Daniel Pineda and Darren Elkins. One's a junkyard dog that you can get at -115. And Darren, nothing really, despite the fact that he's finished fights inside the distance. Tucker Lutz was an all right win now, almost closer to 2 years ago than it was to a year. And coming off, he did have to fight Bruce Leroy and Nathaniel Wood. All right, but Darren Elkins consistently getting, wins in these kinds of spots. The activity has been sparse, but after the TJ Brown fight for Darren Elkins, I can still push forward for another one with him. So Darren Elkins, I'm going to go 2 units money line for whatever that one is. I think that -115 is just a dream for what you can get Elkins at in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, I see -110 on Betway and Caesars. So I got you down. Hey, appreciate you, Daz. Appreciate you coming through and dropping the sub. What up, Tetro? Yeah, I agree, man. I have Elkins bet at +110 on the money line. He was one of my first bets. Him, High Stand, and Ardelean were my first bets on this card. Obviously, the High Stand one's off now, but 138. What do you think about this one, man? You agree? You on the Elkins side?
Yeah, because Elkins is so hard to submit, and I think that's the best path for Pineda. So I'm gonna have to go with Elkins. What? Can I still get a plus number on his money line?
It's -110.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, no.
Do I think he finishes him? Screw it. I'll just put a unit on his money line. I want to get the plus money, but it's too. There's a chance. There's a chance he finishes him. So we're gonna go Elkins money line at -110, I guess, for 1 unit.
And you had 2 units, right, Brady?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And Dawes with the sub. Appreciate you, bro. Fight goes to decision for There Will Be Blood. What is that? Let me see. Fight goes the distance is +165. It's not bad.
Shout out to Daz, by the way. Dude's fantastic. So great human.
I appreciate you coming through, Daz. Supporting 138. And make sure if you don't sub to 138, do that. Check out Brady's stuff as well. Follow, sub, all that good stuff. Yeah. Looks like we all agree. We're all on the Elkins side. Like you guys touched on, man, dude's a dog. I get he's 40. Let's not act like Pineda's not 39. They're both older guys with a ton of wear and tear, and at least Elkins is taking some time. I don't hate that at his age. He's not being too active. I just think he can push a pace. Obviously, that first round is going to be a sweat, but I think after that first round, he'll start to take over, and I think he breaks Pineda. That's why I'd be scared about the decision, is I honestly would not be shocked if he just breaks him and either rear naked chokes him or ground and pounds him, and there is a mercy stoppage. Quickly becoming my favorite show. Yo, appreciate you, Ozzy. And hey, would be nothing without great guests. So make sure if you don't, you subscribe to their stuff, follow their stuff. I'm about to update the caption right now because I realized it wasn't there. Typically, I have that. So let me put that in there, but definitely do that. And if you're watching this on the replay, it'll be in the caption. Daz, showing love. What up, man? Hey, the next fight, the next fight is the short replacement fight, man. We got Jake Hadley, -500. Well, you can get him at -420. Taking on Cameron Smotherman, +385, 138. What do you think about this one, man?
Well, unfortunately, the money line's blown out, but I think Hadley is far better. I remember on the Contender Series, I picked Charalampus Gregorio over Smotherman, and that should tell you all you need to know. I don't think Smotherman's a terrible striker by any means. I think he can strike, but he can't grapple, and he's also been knocked out plenty, so it's not like, I guess maybe not plenty, but you know what I mean. He's been knocked out. I think Hadley should beat him everywhere, but the money line's a little wide. I know this line has been moving pretty rapidly on this fight because it just dropped, I think, last night. So what's the under 2.5 line at right now?
Let me check. Under -165.
165? Okay, give me 2 units on that.
I never hate at under in a short notice fight. I honestly could see Hadley knocking this dude out. I don't think
knocking him out or something.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the best chin.
But, I'm pretty sure the rest of the props aren't out on it, so otherwise I would take probably Hadley if I inside the distance or something, but it's whatever.
Under 2.5, and we'll do -165, 2 units. Yeah. What do you think about this one, Brady?
The similarities on this one are crazy between us 130. Dude, my analysis of this one when I did my show last night stopped with Charalampus Gregorio and how he dealt with Cameron Smotherman on the Contender Series. These Fury FC guys are all over the place. Some of them are very legit prospects, and some of them, they came up in Fury FC as amateurs, convert to pro. The combined record of their first 5 pro opponents is 2-0 or 0-2 or something like that. So the only thing that gives me pause about it is the fact that this is a late replacement fight, and it does weird psychological things to people. What is Hadley inside the distance at?
So we don't have that line yet. If y'all want to play that instead, I'll just write it down, and then when the line drops, I'll put it there. I always have allowed that since I started this show in situations like this. So
if that's a better number, I'll definitely take that instead for 2
it's gonna.
I'm sure it's going to.
And even blindly, I will say, Hadley inside the distance. I'm not comfortable picking knockout or submission because it could be either one. Smotherman could get brave or he could get broken. Either way, I think he's losing. So Hadley inside the distance, 2 units, and honestly, under 2.5 is my second favorite one too. It's weird how it's working out, but that is how I feel about that one.
Watch us get a tie.
Nah, that would be really hard to do, but I guess it's possible. But I'll put both
we've
y'all
lined
down
up on
for Hadley.
so many that it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I guess you're both on Elkins. You're both on Edwards' decision. Or no, wait, you're just on the money line. But yeah, regardless, both Edwards, both Reed and Ardelean.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 units for you both, right?
Yep.
Tetro says Hadley's been looking better recently. Yeah, I think 135 is better. Apparently his cut to 125 was brutal. So looks to bounce back well. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was on high stand big against them, but now that that's done, I think this is a much better matchup. No fancy bets. Hey, I allow anything if the line is current. I'm not against anything like that. There's no rules against that. White Kong for the 4th sub of the night. A sub is possible. I kind of lean towards the KO, man. I think Hadley's gonna have a big speed advantage, and on the feet, I think he can box this dude up. If this fight all comes down to Lane versus Robelis, that would be hilarious.
It was easy to shit on Hadley there for a little bit, but then really losses to Charles Johnson and Cody Durden don't look so bad looking back on it.
No, not at all.
Oh shit.
Oh, he'll be back. Hopefully his phone didn't die. It's all good. We'll make it work, even if we have to let you go 2 times in a row or something. Work back to him. He's back. There he is. Yo.
Sorry about that.
You're good, dude. I was just hoping your phone didn't die. Thought I'd chosen love on all platforms. I appreciate you coming from Twitch over to the YouTube. Make sure you check these guys out and give them a follow and all that good stuff. But what's the next fight? Yeah, next fight is Suma Darji taking on Charles Johnson. We got Charles Johnson minus 225, Suma Darji plus 190. Back to Roto, I believe. What do you got on this one, man?
Yeah, I prefer Charles Johnson here. I think that his winning streak's been good. The winning streak that he had, this was a guy people were ready to give up on, before he bounces back with a win. And really, another guy whose losses don't look so bad when you look back in hindsight. Decision win over head. Now, here's the problem: is that I was deciding between knockout or decision for Charles Johnson. And really, I don't think Sue Majeri is going to give him those opportunities like Joshua Van was willing to. Joshua Van's crazy. I could see that guy being, a lifer fan favorite in the UFC. I hope he works his way up, the ladder. But he gave Charles Johnson every opportunity in the world to knock him out. And he got the chances to do it himself. And that was the spot where Charles Johnson was a big underdog. So I think the more likely of the two in this fight to get the knockout is actually Sumajeri. And I go all over on these pronunciations. I was calling him Sumatahari up until 24 hours ago. So I don't know. This is one where the money line isn't super appealing to me for either guy. It's hard to pick a method of victory here, and especially a round. And I don't think that, over under 2.5 is too appealing. Charles Johnson by decision plus 130. I'll go a unit on it.
Charles Johnson decision. Man, it looks like we all three think there's going to be a good amount of. I've realized when I did my full card breakdown, that I saw a lot of decisions on this card, and it seems like you two see the same. But Johnson decision. What's the line? Let me just make sure you're getting the best one. Decision for Johnson is plus 130, plus 138 on Betway. You said 1 unit, right?
Yeah.
And your Elkins money line, was that 1 or 2 units?
2.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to 138. What do you got on this one?
Yeah. So Sumaderji has this weird fetish with being choked because that's just how he loses fights. I honestly think Charles Johnson is going to get the submission, but I don't quite have the gall to bet it if it's my only bet on the fight for this show. Simply because I could also see Charles Johnson being a Muay Thai guy, not actually wanting to grapple and wanting to show he's a better striker. But I think he wins anywhere this fight takes place. But I do think if he wants to go the grappling route, he could choke the dude out. I'll just put 5 units on Charles Johnson's money line and just go with that because I feel like it's pretty safe.
5 units on his money line. Let me see what it is right now.
Probably minus 225 is my guess. So it was earlier today, but.
Yep. Minus 225. Yeah. No, sounds like we're all in agreement again, man. This is probably the most we've agreed on a card on this show. I never parlay, and that one parlay I was talking about earlier is the Reed and Penne fight goes to decision, parlayed up with Charles Johnson. That's plus or minus 210 and minus 240. That got me plus 109. I never parlay, and I get it. I will say in the first round, I'm going to be a little sweaty because Sumadarji is kind of a sniper. His striking's pretty solid. And I don't even think his takedown defense is that bad. I think his grappling's terrible. But his initial takedown defense isn't bad. And I am a little worried that Charles Johnson's going to strike a little bit more than I want. But I just feel like he's better, man. I think he's more durable. I think if they go to the ground, he has advantages there. I think realistically he should be like minus 300, man. So I had to jump in. It takes a lot for me to parlay, but I really don't see Charles Johnson losing this fight, man. Unless Sumadarji knocks him out in the first round, I think Charles Johnson will find a way to make it happen. And Charles Johnson's so durable, man. I just don't see him getting clipped and knocked out. So, yeah, I got Johnson on the money line parlayed. Putting you down. You said Johnson, 5 units, right?
Yes, sir.
Minus 225, 5 units. All right. And I did update the caption. So if you're new in here or if you're watching on the replay, make sure you go to rotoballer.com. It's in the caption below. And check out all of Roto Brady's content. And then go to 138. You can subscribe to his YouTube. You can check out his Patreon as well. Brady, do you have a Patreon for your bets?
No, I just track them on Action, like for UFC. But yeah, the podcast is also on Spotify, and then I'm also on YouTube. So there's all that too.
Okay, well let me add that in there too. But I have the website there. But yeah, definitely check out the website. There's a lot of good stuff over there, and subscribe to both their YouTubes as well. But let's move on to this co-main event, man. We got Rob Font taking on Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips minus 450 at this point. Rob Font plus 335, plus 340 on DraftKings. Believe we're back to 138 on this one.
Yeah. I kind of hate this one because I think Phillips wins, but I don't like that line, but I do think he probably wins. And I know that the strike lines are probably not out because it's only Thursday, so can't go that route. Man, okay, let's go. I guess let's just go Kyler Phillips by decision and just bite the bullet. 1 unit.
Kyler Phillips by decision. Let me see what the line is on that.
It's probably not
Phillips. Yeah, minus 125.
That's way better than I thought it would be. Great, let's do it.
Kyler decision. Minus 125, 1 unit. Roto Brady, what do you got on this one, man?
I hate it for the same reasons that you do 138. This is also a fight historically that would trap me into being well, it's step up for Kyler Phillips still. Rob Font, a guy who can land 200,000 strikes in a fight and still lose the decision somehow. His striking, it's always there. He lands just never with enough force against this tier of opponents. And it seems like one where it's is he going to catch Kyler Phillips? Is a little too early. In watching these guys over the past week, watching their more recent fights, Rob Font's going to move forward. He's going to land his strikes. I think that's going to happen. But Kyler Phillips has great head movement. He has great speed and explosion. He's going to be the one that lands the better shots. And I do think, just like we kind of saw against Figueiredo, I think that Kyler Phillips is a good and savvy and opportunistic enough grappler to get Font in some dangerous positions throughout the fight. Maybe not finish it because Rob Font has, shown that survival ability on countless occasions. So I think Rob Font is going to get dropped again. I think he's going to get hurt. But I do think that he survives. And so for that reason, I'm going to go 2.5 units, Kyler Phillips by decision.
2.5 units, Kyler decision.
Yeah. Same outcome, different units. I can't wait to see the results of this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys though, man. Rob Font, it's just like the game plan's out. You take this guy down, and even at this point, it's because honestly, you guys at least 138 at this point knows because we've done enough shows together, and that I love a good underdog, but I just can't see it at this point, man. Yeah, he typically has had the durability, the cardio, and solid boxing. But the durability at this point, I don't know if it's still there. And yeah, he probably does have a little bit on paper of a cardio edge just with this 5-round experience on somebody like Kyler, who we have seen gas out in 3-round fights. I'll give Font that, but I just think Phillips is going to be able to take this guy down when he wants to. If he needs a break, he could take him down and just like take a break on top of him. Font has dude, it's one thing to lose some of these fights. You are fighting nothing but killers, but getting wrestled up easily by an injured, one-armed Corey Sandhagen, that was tough, man. So, not a good look. Again, Corey Sandhagen's a beast, great fighter, and Font only fights killers. But when he's taking you down like 10 times, dude, didn't he have like 20 minutes of control time in that fight?
Something like that. I
think he had like 21 minutes of control time or something insane. Maybe I'm exaggerating and it was like 17, but it was like damn near the whole fight. It's like, dude, how the hell did you get controlled that much? But yeah, no, man, I think Kyler Phillips can take this guy down and do what he wants to him. So we're all in agreement again, man. This is by far the most the panel has agreed on a card. So let's hope we all make money.
I think we only have one pick different, don't we? And that's the first fight of the night. Otherwise, we agree on who wins in every fight.
Okay, hold up.
Crazy.
Let's get through this main event and then we'll recap it and find out. Main event. And again, make sure you subscribe if you're new here. Like the video. It helps more people find us. Turn your post notifications on so you don't miss the next week's episode. I'm starting to plan on my little bit in advance. So now that we're filling out the roster a little bit. So definitely, I think we could do some fun stuff with this show. And again, it's not even a show. It's nothing without this. The best part about this show is I get to just sit back and let awesome guests like give great breakdowns, and and I'll learn stuff. And sometimes you guys say stuff, or the guests in general will say stuff that, either maybe I'm already on that side and you push me even further, or you give me a unique perspective that I haven't seen, or maybe you shout out a line that I haven't seen. Not to mention, a lot of these guests, you guys look secretly for the viewers. You're going to have to, it's tough to get betting knowledge out of people for free. Like, that's why I got to thank all the guests who come on the show because, obviously if you want to get their official plays, you got to check out their Patreon, but you're still getting a ton of betting knowledge just for coming through and hanging out. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate you two for coming on. Main event, man. This is probably my favorite Apex main event we've had in a long time. Honestly,
Definitely.
This is a really fun fight. I'm a big fan of both these guys. I was kind of like the number one leader of the hate club in Pereira. Not even like, dude's a ton of fun, but I was just like, oh, I can't wait till this guy gets exposed. Oh, I can't. And I bet Tristan Connolly against him as like a huge underdog and cash that. Now, I will admit, I'll give myself a pat on the back for that one. But then I tried to bet Nico Price against him. That I had my moments in that, and he backflipped on his head, which is illegal as hell. But whatever. Another day for another day. I'm still salty. And then who did I think I faded him against Santiago Ponzinibbio. That one again got dicey. So it wasn't always cashing trying to fade this guy. But I will say, lately I've been betting him because they have been giving him some soft matchups, to be fair. He did move up to middleweight, which is kind of a softer division until you get to the top. But, it's been some favorable matchups. But in this fight, he's fighting a freaking killer, man. So I'm interested to see what y'all say. I think we're back to Roto Brady on this one. What do you got on this main event, man?
And this is a fight that kind of highlights, like, I'm not a hedge guy at all, ever. And this is a card where I do consider several hedge spots, at least in terms of method of victory or the over-under. In this one, Pereira might have one of the least impressive 8 fight winning streaks that I've ever seen in the UFC, just in terms of quality of opponent. Like, the best wins, Chaos, Nico, Santiago, Andre, Michael Alexijuk, all really about the same quality of fighter over, across two different weight classes. And like really, you really have to go back to like September of 2019, that Connolly fight, because that Diego Sanchez DQ doesn't count for all intents and purposes. You look at Anthony Hernandez, like over this 5-fight winning streak, 4 finishes, inexplicably, the only person he did not finish was arguably the worst middleweight in the UFC remaining in Josh Fremd. I cannot explain that one. If he fought Cedricus Dumas, is he going to take him the distance too? I'm not exactly sure. But the wins over Andre Barrial, the sub on Rodolfo Vieira, the Edmund win, the Roman Kopylov fight that he's coming off of February of this year. I can look past getting subbed with and this is what gives me the hesitation, because you get subbed in what was, your real UFC debut against Marcus Perez, who's now a Karate Combat All-Star, and then the knockout against Kevin Holland. I see plenty of similarities between some of his past opponents and Michel Pereira. I think what I saw from him against Roman Kopylov and against Edmund Shabazian was kind of all I needed to see based on what Pereira's done over this 8-fight winning streak. I think that Hernandez has had the higher quality win streak of the two. I do not feel comfortable going with an outcome or a method of victory here. I think like if you're hedging, it's Pereira round 1 or it's under 2.5, something like that. I've seen that, I've seen a ton of people saying that this week. But honestly here, I just think that Hernandez is the better fighter. And I think if he can survive the weird, quirky stuff that Pereira's throwing at him, that looks cool, but really doesn't do a whole lot most of the time, jumping off the cage, doing the backflips, the capoeira, it's fun stuff to look at, but when it even lands, it's not that impactful. If Hernandez can survive round 1, this is his fight any which way that he might take it. And if Pereira gets reckless, I could see him getting a sub just like he did against Rodolfo Vieira, which is one of the hardest things you can do in that weight class. Really, at this money line, minus 138 that I'm seeing on Bet Online, give me 5 units money line on Fluffy.
I like it. 138. What do you think? Are you in agreement to close this card out?
Literally the exact same. And especially with a money line like minus 138, I'm putting 5 units on Fluffy because my guy's getting it done. I would put more on him if I could. But we capped at 5 per fight, so.
Yep, I actually got 133 on Bovada.
I guess I'll take it. The 138 seems cooler, but I'll take the 133.
Oh, wow. How did that not click?
Damn.
Right over your head, dude.
Right over my head. All right, 133 for both of you on the money line. Yeah, dude. So I'm on the same. I'm on Hernandez. I haven't bet it yet, just because I really was thinking, as long as I don't see it going against me, because it's kind of like sat right there in the 130, 135 range. Really, mostly right around 135, but. I'm like, dude, if we can just make it, if the line doesn't jump by the time I get the weigh-ins, people are going to see how big Pereira is and how scary he looks at the weigh-in, and we should get a drop-off on that line, and I should be able to get, like, damn near even money. Because Hernandez, he's fluffy. He's kind of soft. He's not the biggest middleweight. It's crazy because Pereira is the one who's moved up, but dude looks like a light heavyweight. I mean, honestly, I think he's bigger than a couple of light heavyweights on the roster. But, still, I'm on Hernandez. I haven't bet it yet because I was thinking I might be able to get a better line. And plus, I really don't see Hernandez. Obviously, for the sake of the show, you got to do it the way we did it. But I think this is I don't live bet a ton. I got to pick my spots with that. But I think it's mostly, honestly, because since I started like tracking my stuff, I'm like OCD and it throws off my tracking. But so I've slowed down even more. But I think this is a classic live bet spot because not only is Pereira going to be the most dangerous in those first 2 rounds, but after that first round, I really don't see Hernandez like just steamrolling him. It's possible, but I think Hernandez probably chills in the first round like he tends to. And, by like the end of the second is when he starts to like take over a little bit. So, I wouldn't wait 2 whole rounds to live bet, but I'm thinking if I'm going to bet this pre-fight or if I'm just going to wait, I really think Pereira probably will have some decent moments in the first round, like just getting crazy. Yeah, he's tamed it. He's rolled it back a little bit, but this is a main event for his first main event. And yeah, there's not a crowd, which should help him stay to a game plan. I mean, people are still probably oversaying that, like, oh, he's tame now. No, dude, let's not act like he didn't backflip on his last opponent. Like, he backflipped on Pereira in that exchange. Just like dude's still doing ridiculous. Dude, go ahead and waste all that energy in a 5-round fight against Fluffy. Because see how that works out. You better knock him out in those first 2 rounds. Because if you don't, it's going to be a long night. So, yeah, man, I'm on Hernandez. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to, like, wait. Because I wouldn't be surprised if, like, it drops and then Pereira not only wins the first round just because Hernandez kind of takes it slow. He's not dumb. He said it openly. He said Pereira's the only, after the first couple of rounds, he's toast. Dude was like straight up, this dude's cardio's trash. He was like, I'm gonna drown him. So, he knows what's up. I don't see him going out there trying to finish this guy in the first round. All he's going to do in the first round is try to stay safe. So Pereira probably not only gives you a better line from winning the first round, but then he also, he probably will have a couple little moments. He's going to, like, throw a flying knee into Hernandez's guard that'll partially land. And, people will be like, oh, man, he's just too physical, and they're going to steam him. And you're going to get Hernandez friggin', like, plus 220 after the first round or something. So, gonna take a look at that, but I am tempted as bet at pre because I do think he wins, and I don't want to miss out. But, yeah, it seems like we all are in agreement. Fook, Fluffy, you're crazy. Scorpion, you're off. Pereira's going to sleep. He's getting choked out. Choked out in the 3rd or 4th round. Pereira looks like a light middleweight. It's going to be too much for a Lobster. Oh, you meant light heavyweight. I just think that physicality and that size is going to work against him after, like, 7-8 minutes. Like, we've seen in all these fights that he's slowing. It's not like he's not slowing down. Like, people are giving him too much credit. Now, I will say, like, I've been betting him towards the end, so it's been working out. But I'm just saying, people are saying, oh, his cardio's fixed. He's tame. No, he's still doing crazy stuff. He's still slowing down. It's just, first of all, he's had a really freaking favorable matchups along the way. And then also, like, dude's still slowing down at the end of these fights. Like, 40-year-old Ponzinibbio was beating him up in the 3rd round. Friggin' Nico Price was beating him up in the 3rd round. Like, dude's slowing down all the time in these fights. He's just getting away with it. Now it's not like what in his middleweight run, people are like, oh, well, nothing to see here. It's like, dude, there were 3 first round. There's 3 1-minute fights. We haven't had to see this guy push. His last time he had to push was 40-year-old Ponzinibbio, who's looked awful, and they went to split. You could argue he lost that fight, and he was getting beat up in the 3rd. You know what I mean? Oh, he beat Andre Fiallo to decision. Cool, bro. So, squeaked out a win over Nico Price. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like, I think it was Brady said, this has been a really soft run. Like, just getting in the cage 8 times in the UFC and getting a win, that's impressive. Don't get me wrong. But, like, come on, man. That's like it's shocking how bad this run is. Zelim Imadaev, what happened to that guy? Chaos Williams is one of the best wins on this run. Nico Price, looking awful. Andre Fiallo, bottom of the barrel. Santiago Ponzinibbio was good, but too many injuries and health issues he's washed. Andre Petrosky in a minute. First of all, if you're going to beat him, that's the way to beat him. And dude can get knocked out if you just by a cold breeze. So Ola Zaechuk, dude has 1 foot out the door. Like, Potiera, come on, man. So, like,
that's the one that really, like, Ihor Potiera. It's like you have to go from fighting Ihor to fighting Anthony Hernandez about, like, as polar opposite as you're planning for fights where, like, Ihor is going to give you those opportunities. Pereira's got like 2 wins on this winning streak that mean absolutely nothing to me. And Hernandez has 4 really meaningful wins over this 5-fight winning streak to me. And, like, it's just the versatility. And I think Pereira would do better at light heavyweight, where people are going to have similar gas tanks to you, and you have that versatility, like that dynamicism that a lot of light heavyweights aren't going to have. You know, I think that light heavyweight would be better. I think the Ihor fight kind of proves that for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pereira is more dangerous than Kopylov. I won't say that, but I do think Kopylov's the more technical striker. And man, Hernandez looked so comfortable in there, man. Like even when he was eating some shots, I mean, almost too comfortable. Like he was like taunting him and like laughing. Like he was, you could tell the whole fight. He was like, "I'm gonna drown this guy. Like go ahead, get it all out." Like the confidence after the first round. Like I had a bet on him, and I that line was close too. I got good odds on that. And Hernandez, like after the first round, when I watched like how he came out in the second, like he knew, he was like, this fight is over. I'm about to take this dude down and choke him out. And came out with like a crazy confidence. Like you could tell, like he just knew after that first round, like, yeah, this fight's over. And came out, took him down, choked him out like it was nothing. And I think Pereira, man, like, yeah, he could knock Hernandez out early for sure. The way he fights, like he could knock anybody out. But I just feel like after about 7 minutes, you're gonna see Hernandez. Like first of all, ABCs, bro. Always bet cardio, and it's a 5-round fight. In 5-round fights, man, if you got a guy who's got cardio and durability, like it's just everything. This guy can fight for 25 minutes. And he's not going to like go out to some. And I think people are overblowing the body. Don't get me wrong. He has been finished technically to the body. Like you could attribute both those losses. And you've seen him get hurt to the body before. But I think because he's kind of soft, people blow that up into something. Those were hard strikes, man. Like that knee to the body is going to hurt anybody, man. Don't get me wrong. Pereira has some good. He's got a nasty roundhouse to the body that he'll throw. That teep to the body. Like some knees in the clinch. Like, I'm not saying I'd be shocked if he hurt him in the body, but I think people are acting like you just touched this guy in the body and he's going out. Like, I don't think that's the case. I think Hernandez is a dog, and he's going to fight for your money for 25 minutes. I don't know if you can say the same for Pereira. So, yeah, we're going to close out all in agreement. Let's recap these and make sure I got all these correct, and then we can build a couple of parlays and get you out of here. But I do have Hernandez. You got him for 5 units, right? 138.
Yep.
And then how many units for you again, Brady?
5.
5. So we're nice. I respect it. All right. Well, let me go through 138 first. We got the over 1.5 plus 220 for 1 unit. We got Ardelean by decision plus 200 for 1 unit. Elise Reed, decision plus 110, 1 unit. Edwards on the money line, minus 235 for 5 units. Matsumoto, decision, minus 100 or plus 100. I don't know why it came up. I don't know why I did that. For 1 unit. We got Almabaev, KO, plus 750 for 1 unit. Darren Elkins on the money line, minus 110 for 1 unit. Hadley inside the distance, 2 units. When that line drops. That's why it threw me off. Charles Johnson on the money line, minus 225, 5 units. Kyler Phillips by decision, minus 125 for 1 unit. And Hernandez in the main event, minus 133 for 5 units. All that sound correct?
Yeah, but I think that's 24 units. So add an extra one to the Hadley inside the distance.
Okay, 3 units for that one.
Word.
All right. And then for Brady, we got Austin Lane, 1 unit, plus 300. Elise Ardelean, decision, plus 200, 1 unit. Elise Reed, decision, plus 110, 1 unit. Edwards, decision, minus 150, 1 unit. Matsumoto, decision, plus 100 for 1.5 units. Almabaev, decision, plus 100 for 2 units. Elkins on the money line, minus 110, 2 units. Hadley inside the distance, 2 units. Charles Johnson, decision, plus 138 for 1 unit. Kyler Phillips by decision, minus 125 for 2.5 units. And again, Hernandez in the main event, minus 133 for 5 units. All that sound correct?
Yeah. What's my total at?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, 18 and a half, 19, 20. You're at 20.
All right, I'm going to put 3 more units on Hadley inside the distance, and I'm going to put 2 more units on Jocelyn Edwards by decision.
So 3 units for Edwards. Okay. All right. That works. Yeah, man, you're on I just realized you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decision props. But I agree. Like I said that in my video, my full card breakdown I dropped the other day, that I think there's going to be a lot of decisions on this card. Like there is some fun fights, but I think there's going to be a good solid 6 decisions on this card. But will it be the exact 6? Could be. We'll see. But let's build a couple parlays real quick. It should be almost, I was going to say easy, but it's almost hard because we agree on so much. Okay, definitely let's throw Hernandez in there.
Yeah, humor me real quick. What if we go Hernandez, Hadley, Edwards, and Johnson as like a base?
Hadley, Edwards. Do you agree with all those, Roto?
Yeah, let's do it.
Based on his unit allocation, I feel like we're all pretty confident in those.
Let's see what that would be.
Probably not great, but it's at least plus money.
I mean, all 4 of them's definitely. Only this price gonna be pretty solid. Typically, we do like a first one that's kind of safe, and then we go a little crazy on the second one. But hey, I'm down. We can get crazy.
I think this one's safe.
Yeah.
You know?
Hadley. Okay, hold up. Are we doing? Let's do like bet online probably.
Word. Actually, you might not be able to parlay Hadley on bet online yet.
We can do DraftKings.
Yeah. Okay, because the Hadley line, usually when they drop a line, even if it's for like a late replacement, they don't let you parlay it for a while because they let the line even out first. Bet online is usually the one to drop it, so they don't want to get burnt. Which I get.
258. And then Johnson. Oh, wait, Johnson. Oh, yeah, Hernandez. Minus 135. So we got Hernandez, Hadley, Edwards, and Johnson. That's plus 325.
That's like the safest plus 325 I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4-leg parlays.
You could add the over in the Reed fight.
In which fight? Oh,
the Reed fight?
Yeah. Yeah, like let's see.
If you want to get wild.
I mean, that'd be one of the parts that one of the ones that I would agree with the most. Yeah, and then we can add Reed. Reed versus Penne. Goes the decision, minus 225. Let's see. So that would be minus 225. And then let's think of one more and just get crazy. Hold on. We got
a crazy leg or just another leg?
Oh yeah, just another leg. We could do so we could do Elkins and get crazy, or we could do Kyler and be a little safer.
Ooh, I honestly like Elkins better than Kyler at the number.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. We are so in lockstep on this card. It's ridiculous.
And me and Evan were all over the place on that. That was like on the card where Vyacheslav Borshev fought. Like I forget what even the main event was, but it could not have been the more polar opposite in terms of.
No, it's not usually like this, but
this is so wild. We've only disagreed on one pick. And that's the first fight of the night.
Yeah, y'all picked some different props, but in general the picks were what did you outright pick Lane on the first fight, Brady?
Hell yeah, I did.
Okay. So we did agree. We did disagree on one pick, really. There's some that we're less and more confident on, but even the underdogs, like we're all on Ardelean, we're all on Elkins.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think those are the only two underdogs that we picked outright. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not quite as confident in the Matsumoto one or Reed, but that's really about it. I mean, still though, I like the numbers that y'all are playing in the by decision. Let's see. So -110 for Elkins at this point, -225 for the decision on that Reed fight. That gets it to plus 1,067.
That cashes, dude. That's hitting.
Yeah.
I might actually play that after we get there.
I mean, dude, honestly, for a 6-leg parlay in MMA, I really do not hate that. Like, for a plus 1,000, I really don't. I think there's a solid chance that hits.
Like I'm at least throwing $10 on that.
Yeah, genuinely think that that's like one of the safer. I've hit. I'm not a huge parlay guy, but I used to be, and I've never gone to hit, like I've never tried to hit higher than like a 7-legger, but I've hit a couple of 7-leggers, but they never felt as confident as I think this 6-legger does. I'm not gonna lie.
It's so clean.
It feels like it's hidden. So
yeah, I mean the biggest parlay I've ever hit was a 14-legger, but that also had like a lot of those like PFL Bellator minus like 1400s and minus 2000s in it, so it wasn't that impressive.
So mine was the first Jorge and Usman fight, and I had a 7-legger, and I can't think of it was Paige Van Zandt was one of the losses. There was Amanda Ribas armbarter, and it was like Usman. I can't even remember who all the legs on that parlay were, but it was that was back when I used to like build a ton, and Usman was my anchor. And he was in like 5 parlays, and then I had like a couple 4 legs, and then I had like a 5, a 7, 2, or like a 6 and a 7 or some crazy. Like I would build them out like that, and I went crazy. That was probably my best betting night ever. Even though I bet larger amounts now on my bets, that was just like I literally hit like everything. Like I just swept the board, including 2 legs, 2 legs, 2 4 legs, a 6-leg and a 7-leg. I hit every parlay. That was probably my best betting night ever. But dude. Anyways, man, we did agree on a ton. I appreciate y'all coming through. If you're still here, man, make sure you subscribe. Put both their stuff in here, and I will put the timestamps on here so you can go through if you got certain fights you want to look into. But appreciate y'all coming on, man. Their links are going to be in that caption below. Roto Brady, you got anything coming up? Any content coming?
Yeah, I do an MMA DFS value picks article for Roto Baller that comes out on Friday afternoons. And then my show Tap That comes out on Thursday mornings every week that I record on Wednesday night. So that's happening every week. And then I have other like interlude episodes where I have like people on from either like the MMA combat sports world or like the spring football, arena football kind of world, all over the place. But like I'm always dropping shit, and I'll always make it known where it's at.
Hell yeah. Well, go subscribe, y'all. I put his stuff in the comments below, so definitely check it out, or in the caption below. 138, what about you, man? What do you got coming up this week?
Yeah, I'm going to still try to get like a quick picks video out tomorrow morning for the PFL card. I was going to go live with Pick'em this week, but both of our schedules were wild. Like I'm still like at work right now, technically. Like, I mean, so like it's been wild. Our schedule didn't line up. So I'm just going to have to do like a quick picks video, throw it out there. Should be good. Hey, what's up, Blood, down there in the chat? But yeah, so I'm going to try and throw that up tomorrow morning sometime before everything goes down. We'll see. We'll do our best. Other than that, I did a really good interview. At least I thought it was really good, but I'm a little biased. But a really good interview with Jimmy Smith the other day. It's a few videos back on my channel because it was a while ago, but check that out because like my interviews never do super well because most of my fan base is just degenerate gamblers that don't care about an interview. But Jimmy Smith is awesome, and the interview is really, really good. I had a blast doing it, and I think people are going to actually enjoy it. So after you've caught up with your betting content, check out the interview with Jimmy Smith. It's on 138 MMA, the YouTube channel. There you go.
Yeah, dude, I did. I need to finish that. I got through like the That was a little bit longer than your typical ones, wasn't it? You
it was like a half hour because like we were just rolling.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Definitely check that out, man. I put his link in the caption below. And those interviews I know how it is, dude. You do these interviews and like people are more into the betting stuff a lot of times. But if they check out the interviews, I think you'd really like. It's interesting talking to these people. We're all MMA fans, so getting like an inside look, it's always a good time. And hey, Blood Money, appreciate you, man. Definitely y'all check him out too. Tons of good content. But I did put Roto Brady and 138, all their stuff in the caption. So give them a subscribe on YouTube. Check out Roto's website. Check out 138's Patreon, all that good stuff. Check them out on Twitter, all that good stuff. Appreciate y'all coming through again, man. Like I said, this show is all about the guests. I'm literally just like a background character in this, and that's the best part about this show. I like just sitting back and chilling and letting y'all take it away. But yeah, man, appreciate y'all coming on again. We'll definitely get you on again. And good luck on the bets, man. It sounds like we're all in agreement, so we ride together on Saturday.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, dude. This is always fun.
Thanks for having me on 138. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, man. I'll be sure to check out your content.
Good to meet you, brother, for sure. Likewise.
Hey, we'll do it again, guys. Appreciate you again.